Hey guys, Adam Hart here. What it was like playing Avatar for the first time. So many of us wanted this to be in third person, but let's see what the game is like. Let's get straight to the point. The world looks beautiful, but it's boring to play. This is a game you'd enjoy if you like looking at pretty scenery as you run and fly around. This is a game you won't enjoy for the combat and gameplay in general because it's limited and the open world doesn't have much to do. The main attraction are campsites that have both robot mechs and foot soldiers, but I wish there was more enemies to fight and that your fellow Na'vi fought alongside you as you did the story and free roam, which they don't. The story isn't good and I found myself skipping through the lines. A big tip I want to give you guys to save money is I'm playing the Ultimate Edition of Avatar, which is $130 for only $15 a month because of Ubisoft Plus. I'm not sponsored by them, I'm just helping you guys save money. AC Mirage and other Ubisoft games are also included in that, but anyway, back to the game. We grow up with humans raising us. They don't exactly treat us right, but don't worry, my cat saved us each time. Even my cat jumped off the tree. Until there's an attack from the Na'vi, and instead of escaping with my fellow Na'vi friends, which would have been a lot more simple,
you're just gonna go to sleep.
They stick me in a cryogenic bed. I wake up in the future when they come back to rescue me. They help me escape, and I finally get to touch grass for the first time in my life. Ugh, I'm leaving my room for the first time. This is the first time I'm entering the open world. I go across the water, meet my first animal, who rams me to death. I guess the lesson here is never leave your room. I come across the first thing I can pick up, an egg, and apparently you have to gently pull down, find the right angle, then pull down the whole way once you find that angle. The problem is, things won't come out easily, even when pulled at different angles. It feels weird, it doesn't work, and it just wastes your time. Shortly after exploring, I come across an injured Na'vi who gave me a bow, then I gave him a burrito and he was all better.
This is how we heal.
I'm introduced to Na'vi senses, which is how you figure out where to go since it shows a bright blue light, except sometimes it doesn't when you're too far or too close to the waypoint, and other times it's just hard to see because of the various colors you usually see on screen, especially at nighttime when the forest really lights up. It would have been nice to have the option to display the main waypoint without having to use your Na'vi sense. Little did I know it would become a big problem with the game that took a lot of the enjoyment away. I liked how there's always wildlife around every corner, which the game does well, but it seems every time we take one step forward, we take 3 steps back. I'm given a scanning device called Sid, like the guy from Ice Age. Except, instead of being funny and stupid, it's just stupid. This is used to restore power to machines, and every time it's the same minigame, where you have to move along a bunch of lines until you get to the end. You just hold R2 and drag it across the lines until you get to the end point which gets the power to work. It's so simple that it's boring, and while it's different, it becomes feeling the same quick.
Just a little hack, and the system will reset. Do you mind?
Yes, because unfortunately, way too many of the game's missions make you do this. You also do a lot of investigations in the game where you inspect a bunch of things before you're able to continue a quest. These are also really boring and just a chore. Then they're sprinkled with bad dialogue to make your blood boil. I soon found stun grenades which were useful to use against the robots. I then ran out of ammo, so I had to resort to close range combat, and sadly you can only punch in this game, or at least that I know of. There's also a skill to rip guys out of their mech suits, and I'll cover skills later, but I wish we could craft axes, spears, put on spiky gloves or something, I don't know, but you can't. So if you run out of ammo or just get tired of shooting arrows or bullets, you can only punch. Then the mission makes you use Sid again. Come on, man. And then I had to return to punching, which already starts to feel repetitive, but thankfully I found a bunch of sticks, which are probably at every outpost, and I'm able to craft arrows, and we're back in action. Alright boys, we are gonna try to do some parkour on these leaves. Hopefully we can do it, because you don't have many skills to go on, which is normal for just starting the game, but I feel like moving around the jungle could have been done in a better way, such as environment interactables. Now there's specific orange vines hanging out of plants which let you ascend, and leaves and flowers that throw you up in the air, but it feels like something's missing. I want to run up this green branch and start climbing it. I want to climb on these green vines hanging off this tree here. I want to feel like I'm an agile, fast avatar flying through the woods, but instead, I feel like a stiff piece of cardboard. Maybe from watching this you guys get that feeling as well. However, when it comes to graphics, the game looks great, which makes running around the world fun to an extent. Oh, I wonder if I get our beast that we ride on here, which you guys might have been thinking too. You don't get it for a long time, which is a weird choice, and you're forced to run everywhere for your quests. Even though there's fast travel in the game, you still have to do a lot of running, which gets frustrating quick, and you'll constantly ask yourself, when am I getting my mount so I can fly? On the good side, I unlock a skill that lets me extend my jumps in the air, which will help with better mobility. There's lots of different skill trees, and then there's ancestor skills which are stronger than the other ones. These are ripping soldiers out of robots, a dropkick sort of move, using a soft landing to prevent fall damage, and increasing your Ekron stamina. After that I begin one of the worst level design sections of the game. The waypoint is on the other side of the mountain, and figuring out which path to take with awkward parkour by not being able to grab most things and sliding down the walls was just not fun. Combine that with trying to gather a plant along the way and still having trouble, and then realizing Ubisoft puts us stuck in the middle of all these mountains, which limits you when you free roam. It makes your blood boil. Meanwhile, my cat in the background actually starts dancing as my pain becomes their entertainment. Well, actually, you can argue that for most cats. I start over at the bottom of the mountain, and I guess I made the right turns that time because it seemed much better. I don't know if it was just bad luck the first time, but I made it, but it really negatively affected my experience. Then Ubisoft hits me with... Oh my gosh. Like, that is just comical, man. Like, this was like the fun bit. And like, normally, like Assassin's Creed 2, you had this amazing moment and you get to the top of the tower and then it's like, Ubisoft presents. It's like, oh, it's amazing, man. But here, it's like, I went through agony and it's like, Ubisoft presents. Not yet, because getting a gun makes things more fun. And I also got a staff sling that chucks bombs, which stay on the ground or have a direct impact. And you get more ammunition for your gun off dead robot soldiers. A missed opportunity was having tons of other avatars fight alongside you, but sadly the only time you ever see them is at camps and campfires. You can, however, watch them skin potatoes. If you wanted to watch them skin potatoes at nighttime, you can change the time of day at camps. Besides from mining outposts, which I showed earlier in the video, the only other action I saw when exploring the world was when several robots were guarding a trapped animal in the middle. You can hear these areas when you're nearby because you hear the robot shooting, and then you come to the rescue. How could you use guns, you savages? I'll save you. There's a flower nearby. The game is like, screw the animal, get the flower. Who cares about the animal? I then saw an animal ramming into trees, and I realized I wish more animals actually interacted with the environment. Oh, fudge is coming after me!
That animal is too shy to cause trouble. We are safe.
Too shy! Even the Navi at this campsite weren't impressed. Even when you do find them out in the world, they're static instead of doing things with you. Like seeing them standing around an animal they hunted, instead of actually seeing them fight it. Maybe we could ask them to join us. Hey, do you want to explore with me?
You are crowding me.
I'm crowding you. Like this, my friend? I found it annoying when I kept seeing a blinking red bar at the bottom of the screen to eat food. You have to keep eating in this game in order for your health to recover at all. So if you don't eat food when you're hungry, your health won't go up at all when you're hurt. This quickly becomes a chore because of how much you have to eat. They're trying to be different by pulling plants, scanning electronics with Ice Age Sid, eating food so you can regain health, and none of it is fun. Then there's something wrong with the sprint system, or perhaps it's just on PC. You're supposed to sprint when you toggle L3, and I do that and he'll start to sprint and then he'll stop. Start to sprint, then stop again. After several times, he'll finally start sprinting, but I had to deal with this my whole entire time. Another problem is when you zoom out the whole way, you're not able to zoom back in. And I'll show you my controller. As you can see, nothing happens to zoom in or out. When I close the map and reopen it, I can now zoom in and out with L2 and R2. But if I zoom all the way out, I can see the whole map, which is a basic thing to do in open world games to see more of the map. And then I can't zoom in anymore. I'm just stuck there. So every time you want to change where you are in the map, you have to totally close it and open it back up again. Then I felt like I was being hunted by the RDA, which was great. And I took cover behind a gigantic root and watched to see what this aircraft was going to do. Now, I think their aircraft can cloak themselves, but you can't tell me when the whole thing goes invisible, the fans are the last part to go. It just looked like a glitch to me and instantly took me out of the immersion I had for the moment. I had to take a break and stroke my cat. This is my cat Lulu. She's extremely fluffy. Speaking of animals, you can see a scent trail they leave behind by using your Navi senses and their weak spots marked with an orange spot. You can also go into a hunter guide to see that spot. I killed my first animal and had to say a prayer before I could gather it. I was curious to see if you had to do a prayer every single time you collect resources from an animal you kill, and you do. Although the prayer isn't as long as the first time, but this got old pretty quick. In fact, I already wanted the prayer to end with the first animal. I like that they're trying something new, but with this, it's just not fun. It's like in Red Dead Redemption 1, this will make some of you smile, how it was cool skinning an animal the first time you killed one. Then multiple times later, it got old, so you stopped your horse over the dead body, which would skip the skinning animation and you'd instantly collect the hides from the animal. If you know, you know. There's lots of different skill trees, and there's some things to look forward to, like ripping a soldier out of a mech suit, drop attacks, and negating fall damage or at least to a certain height with a soft landing. There's more skills on the next level of this flower skill screen, which would hopefully make the combat better. A big worry I still have is, Is there more to do than just fighting guys at campsites? You can have all the abilities in the world which makes combat better, but it doesn't matter if there's not enough different activities in the world to use them. I craft special arrows for the first time which release a gas cloud and do a lot of damage, and thankfully mixes up the gameplay a little. After fighting some more robots who are bullying an Ikran, I'm forced to use Sid yet again as I figure a way into the aircraft. Here's my reward.
I must get to her. I know.
Oh, fudge. A fire spreads, and I'm forced to use the hacking tool yet again. Then the hatch door opens, and you just stare at it. Eventually the guy jumps, but I'm telling you guys, the game is just killing me. Okay, I saw some bullets in there, but it just looked like he should have jumped, and it looks weird that he didn't jump. A lot of things just don't work and don't feel right. The guy we just rescued, his Ikran got hurt and was a really nice emotional part of the story, which gave me motivation to continue. Unfortunately, this is the only part of the story that I liked up to this point. I noticed this game makes you run around a lot to get to your quest, and it made me think, when am I going to fly? A major problem with this game is it makes you do parkour in the early missions and run around to get to quests before you get many skills to work with. I even spent some skills unlocking a mid-air jump that extends your time in the air, but it's not much. They should have given us a mount early on, hopefully I get one soon. For getting around the environment, there's hanging plants that you can connect to which propels you up, and from what I've unlocked so far, there's an air boost that extends you in the air, like I mentioned earlier, and more skills to unlock like a soft landing to take away fall damage. When jumping across treetops, watch out for poisonous plants. I can confirm I still skip lines as I continued the game. The writing just isn't good.
Just play along.
Rose learning knock knock joke.
Who's there?
Water. Now you say water who?
Water who?
Water, you doing telling jokes. Don't you have more important things to do?
Something I did like was the display of how the environment and animals are negatively affected by the humans, whether that's the aftermath of destruction, or current destruction, or the animals being affected by pollution. I thought they did a good job with that. When I cleared an outpost later in the game, I saw animals approaching it, which was also a nice touch. Gathering plants is an absolute pain in this game. I mentioned it a little earlier, I'll go into more detail on it now. You have to find the right angle and then pluck it, but you'll usually have to move it around for a while before you find it. The very first time was interesting because it was different, then got quickly boring and annoying like a bunch of gnats following you around. At this point, after all the bad parts of the game I've had to push through, I legit almost quit after struggling to just pick a goddamn plant, but I don't like giving up on games. I'll just keep playing until I get absolutely ticked off, instead of stopping earlier for mental health and self-care. I actually feel worse stopping when getting mad, compared to pushing through and continuing a game and getting aggravated. I'd actually rather have the latter. Next thing I knew, I was playing as a bug, which was actually a really nice change of pace than using Sid, the Ice Age guy. Until I got lost and I just couldn't believe there was no indication of where to go, not even a hint. I couldn't believe I was lost either, as a bug. The poor level design really gets in the way. The collection of bugs at the tree felt a little misleading. In the end, you have to go over a wall to continue this part of the story, which didn't look natural at all. It looked like one of those invisible walls. The correct way to go, a lot of the times, just didn't feel good. Ghost of Tsushima and God of War Ragnarok had thick jungles as well, but I had a great sense of where I was going in those games, and Tsushima even had wind to guide you, which I loved and was very natural to that game. In here, your Navi's sense blurs the screen, and having said the game looks great, sometimes the screen gets blurry, and there's a vignette around the screen which I really didn't like. Now, after a bunch of times coming close to getting a mount and them flying away every single time, the game finally finishes teasing you and gives you a mount. This feels like it should have happened an hour into the game instead of several because of having to painfully run everywhere. Now, riding on the Ikran was another best part of my experience. The previous best moment was when the other one died, which sounds horrible, but it had great emotion, and this moment has a lot of emotion as well, but on the other end of the spectrum. Super happy. The music that kicked in had perfect timing, sounded good, and music is something Ubisoft really excels at. I still pull up the Assassin's Creed 2 theme song to this day. This is the moment that should have happened earlier when we see the big text show up on the screen, Ubisoft Presents. Then allow Navi to fly with you and do a flying mission to change things up, and actually have the Navi with you so you feel like you're actually part of a family and you're fighting to protect them from the RDA. In that hypothetical early battle, have many of the avatars get hurt, and really lean into the cruelness of the RDA and the love inside of the Navi as they're helping each other and helping the wounded, so you really form a connection with them, and then we'd actually care about the story and the characters. That would have been a great way to begin the game. But anyway, while you're flying, you can still shoot your gun and your bow and arrow, and there's the controls on the left side, like press X to do a speed boost. The first thing I wanted to do once I could fly was visiting all the floating islands you see in the sky. I beeline straight for it, only to discover emptiness. There was nothing to do there. Then the next mission had me using my Ecron to fly up to this platform in the sky, use Ice Age Sid Man again, shoot explosives that come up, get off before the whole platform explodes, then repeat. Everything just feels like a chore in this game. Whether it's trying to get around the environment, trying to find the waypoint, climbing a mountain, pulling plants, waiting for your prayer to end from an animal you kill so you can get materials from it, to constantly going back to the home tree for your quests, then running back into the wild where you came from to complete said quest. Skipping all the lines. The game is a beautiful, boring maze. It's beautiful to look at, it's a boring maze to play. I wanted to like this game, and I love open world games. You'll find a lot of them on my channel, but this was the worst game I've played for 2023. Hello, Ubisoft. Going into this game, I knew I disliked a lot of Ubisoft games, but I was willing to give them a chance. Unfortunately, this is another game to add to the pile of big fancy looking but empty open world games Ubisoft has put out. If you love the scenery, and that's all you need to have fun, or you enjoy what you've seen of the gameplay and combat, then I'd recommend Ubisoft Plus, so you can play the game for just $15 a month. The game also has co-op, so that's a nice feature we don't always see in open world games, and I hope you now have a better idea of what the game is like, and saved you some money. I plan to do this for more games where I just tell you exactly what my experience was like when playing a new game, my next one being Lethal Company. If you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.